This is Eliseo. Welcome to Content Ecosystem, my newly branded YouTube channel. On this channel, we learn about content creation and monetization, all things content creation and monetization. I'm super excited to be back before you again on another week. I have a new series called Creators on the Come Up. You know, it was something I was kind of like playing around with, an idea I had. And it kind of the way it all kind of fell together is just kind of like, you know, I guess meant to be. You know, I reached out to Tom Buck. He was my first guest, and I was kind of talking with him about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about this, and he was like, let's do it. You know Tom Buck. You know, he's like a huge YouTuber, so it just kind of like put some fire up under me to like, I guess that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So you know, I kind of put a lot of things in motion. Show is actually sponsored by TubeBuddy. They reached out and they wanted to back the show, so shout out to TubeBuddy. This show is sponsored by TubeBuddy. The best plugin for serious YouTubers. If you want to grow your channel, they give you so many resources and so many different, like plugins and analytics and different things to help you grow your YouTube channel. So check out TubeBuddy, and I'll have a link for a free trial on that. But the guest that we have on today, man, she is phenomenal. I actually met her through Clubhouse. Clubhouse is a godsend in my opinion. You know, so many connections being made on that platform. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And she's just she's a sniper, man. She's gifted. She knows what she's talking about. So whenever you like meet somebody who knows what they're talking about, it's probably in your best interest to kind of be friends with them and maybe see if you can soak up some knowledge. So that's kind of definitely what I'm doing with her. She's super dope, and we're gonna get her on now. And that's none other than Liz Germain. Let's get it going. Hey, homegirl, how you doing?
Hello, good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. You don't even know you're my homegirl now. I don't even think you realize that.
Are we on that level? I'm so honored.
She's like, "Are we on?" Yes, we're definitely your homegirl material. So I appreciate you, man. But I'm grateful that you accepted to come on my show. I know you're super busy, so we want to be respectful of your time. And I actually, like I said, I heard you were in a Clubhouse room. It was with Sean Cannell, Lewis, the Lewis guy. Don't know his name. What's his last name?
I'm not sure.
He's like the biggest Lewis YouTuber. He's like, I don't know, but he has a yeah. Anyways,
Shouldn't we know this? We should probably know this.
yeah. No,
But I
he was
don't.
dropping
I
some
don't remember
gems,
it.
but you were like in the room. You were real quiet and like you weren't really saying much. But a question came up and you answered the question. But the way you answered it was so like strategic and meticulous. Like I was like, whoa, who is that? And so I tapped in with you and like just kind of stalked you a little bit. I'm like, yo, she's the real deal. So yeah, we just kind of want to get into your story a little bit, and then also, definitely get in. When I hit you up, I was like, what could we do? And you was like, how to grow a YouTube channel to 6 figures. And I know that's something that you specialize in, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's dope. That's dope. So who is, and how do you say your last name?
Germain.
Germain. See, I was kind of confused on that because I know a lot of Germains, but it has an E at the end. So I wasn't
Yeah.
knowing if it was
Yeah.
like
Liz
Germain.
Germain Dupree. That's how you can remember it.
Oh, nice. Sweet,
I'm just
sweet.
kidding. It's spelled differently.
Yes.
But yeah, it's Germain.
Well, there's another Jermaine in the comments. His name is Jermaine, but he said Lewis House or Hose House. You familiar with
Oh
him?
yeah, Lewis Howes. Yeah. Lewis
Okay.
Howes. It wasn't Lewis. It was somebody else. I can't remember, but it wasn't Lewis Howes.
Oh, you okay? So you've never been in a room with him?
I've been in rooms with Lewis. I know Lewis. I just haven't. I wasn't speaking I haven't spoken on a room with Lewis.
Okay, gotcha. Well, the room I was in with him, it was Lewis House. It was Sean Kennel. Grant Cardone came in that room, and
Oh, okay, okay.
you came in the room. You weren't like a moderator or nothing. They just pulled you on stage, and then you started answering the question, and you were just killing it. I'm like, who is she? So that's kind
That's
of
cool.
yeah, that was my introduction to Liz Germain. But I appreciate that, Jermaine. Let's just shout out the comments real quick. We have Lim Drops. What's up, Lim? Congratulations on the sponsorship. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. He said, crush it. I'm trying. We got Zapata Media. What's up, brother? What's up? So many people in the comments. We got DJ Strick. Yeah, so I try to remember to show love to the people watching because that's really important, right? So cool.
Yeah, well, they're here. They're spending their precious time that
I
you can't
know.
get back with us. So that's awesome. Good to see all of you.
And you guys are going to learn some very important and super dope stuff tonight. So tell us, who is Liz Germain, if you want to start there.
Well, that's a tough place to start because I don't even know. I feel like I'm daily discovering new parts of myself. I don't know if you're anything like me, but to give you kind of my background in a Cliff Notes version, I grew up, born and raised in Michigan, didn't really have health and fitness as a part of my lifestyle. And then I had a really transformational life experience where I lost a close friend to suicide, and it completely changed my whole perspective of the amount of time that we have left on earth, what I was going to do with the rest of my life. This person was only 19 years old, and it really brought home for me the reality, and not to be morbid, but the reality is we don't know if we're ever promised tomorrow. And so that transformational experience had me really looking at my life and what I wanted to do with my time. And I decided that no matter what, I was going to completely change and overhaul my entire lifestyle and get as healthy physically, financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally as I could.
Wow.
And so part of that, I was like, okay, well, I need to start over somewhere new. I've always seen California on the TV. That place looks nice, so let's give it a shot.
Wow.
Moved across the country to California, didn't know anybody, started completely over from scratch. Ended up finding a fitness leadership program at UCLA, went to go do that because I'd gone into running and exercise and all this stuff, and it became a huge passion of mine to go from not growing up with any of those resources to being self-taught and then finding this mentorship program at UCLA. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. So I went to this program, ended up working at UCLA as a trainer and fitness instructor for like 2.5, 3 years. And during that time, I was, as a personal trainer living in Los Angeles, that's one of the most expensive places in the world you could be. And I had to work like 4 different jobs just to make ends meet.
Wow.
Worked at a physical therapy clinic at UCLA, at, a couple other local private gyms, and then had my own clients, right? So, and this is anyone who's in the fitness industry, like if you're teaching classes or you're on your feet all day, you're showing people up and down, left and right, all kinds of different movements, right? So this was a really exhausting time in my life. And I also didn't really have any results to show for it. So my sister and I, she kind of followed in my footsteps. We decided to start a little blog and start sharing. Originally, it was for the people that we would see in person. And they would ask things like, well, you always mention, nutrition is just as important as fitness in the workout class, but I just don't know how to cook. Or, I wish I could eat healthier, but I just hate the taste of healthy food. Like, how do you actually make this an enjoyable process? And so we started posting these recipes that were healthy alternatives to things like pizza or mac and cheese, or even ice cream and brownies.
Wow.
How to make them lower calorie, lower sugar, higher protein, and more nutrient dense from real plant-based foods. And before we knew it, probably after like a couple months of sharing content like that, plus, exercise and workout routines, we decided that we were going to run a little challenge, right? We had seen other people do it online. We're like, that's their whole business. Maybe we could do that too. Like, let's try to do it. So we hoped that we would get like 10 women in that first challenge. And we were shocked to end up enrolling over 350 women. And this was in my early 20s. So I didn't know anything about business. I had no idea what I was doing. We only charged like $20.
You're still not in your early 20s?
No. No, I'm in my early 30s now. But at the time I didn't know what I was doing. So we were like, oh, let's try to get 10 people in it. We'll sell it for $20. It'll be a great time. And so we had 350 women enroll from all over the world. And I'm talking like Australia, New Zealand, the UK, parts of even the Middle East,
wow,
South America, just all over the place. And we were like, wow, okay. It was like the realization that, okay, we could really do this online. And so then we started putting more effort and energy into building that up. And after the first year, we were both able to make enough of an income to leave all the other side jobs and start doing it full time. We sold digital products, membership site, workout plans, meal plans, things like that. And it was a really fun fun experience. So I did that business for like 5 years. That's actually this award behind me is from that first original YouTube channel.
Wow.
And what ended up happening.
Is that gold?
No, I wish it was. That's just the yellow light.
Oh.
Gold is next though. It will be up there. You just got to wait maybe a couple years. or who knows, maybe a couple months. So anyway, what ended up happening was my sister and I were running that business together for 5 years, but then she got married. And so she wanted to go start a new business with her husband. They wanted to go travel, and they decided to buy a van, rip out the inside, convert it to a really beautiful craftsman tiny home.
Wow.
And then they went and traveled the country for like the next year or two. And so in that transition, I was left with the question of, okay, well, should I keep doing this health and fitness stuff? It's a little bit lonely. It's a little bit isolating. It's a little bit boring, to be honest with you, because I had changed so much as a person in those 5 years. And I really didn't want to push myself into the next thing or force something to come out of this transition. So because I had all this YouTube income and brand deals and sponsorships and digital product sales that were just coming in, even if we weren't posting, because you know how YouTube works. You post it once and it's there forever.
Yeah.
So I had this flexibility. There wasn't this like major urgency of like, oh my God, I need to figure this out right now. So I took a year off, went and traveled all over. And I kept getting the question over and over and over again of, what do you do? Like, do you have a job? Like, or are you just in Peru one week and then Thailand the next week? And, and then I see you posting pictures in Japan. Like, who are you? Essentially was what people were asking. And then the follow-up question was always, I would tell them, honestly, well, I do YouTube stuff. And the follow-up question was always, well, how do you grow a channel? And then how do you make money from YouTube? And I'm like, okay, I heard that question probably 30 times in that year. I was like, there's clearly a market need. I know that I can help other people do the same thing of what we were able to do. We grew that channel to, I think it's around 145,000 subscribers. And it's just a really body positive place to be. And we really tried to focus all the content on that original channel around not making fitness about what you look like, but what you feel like. Not about necessarily the size that you are, but how good is your health?
Wow.
And so it's really cool, the opportunity that YouTube opened up for both of us, really, because her and her husband then started a second van life channel that blew up. They're about to hit 200K subscribers.
Wow.
And YouTube has just blessed me with so many opportunities over the years. And I'm just really grateful. So at Vidfluence, which is the company I run now, I've been doing this the last couple of years. We help other people, whether you're a brand new beginner or you're a more advanced business person already over that 6-figure level. Most people, most of the advanced businesses we're working with are multi-7 and 8-figure business level.
Wow.
But regardless of where you're at on your YouTube journey, we help put together the strategies. We'll help you train you on how the algorithms actually work, how to structure your content, and all those types of things. So that was actually not a Cliff Notes version. That was the full novel version, but there you go.
That was good. Like, people don't really know that about, they see these creators and, by the time like I come into your world, you're already big, you know what I'm saying? So that's the case with a lot of people. So they're like, man, it would be dope to kind of hear the backstory of how she got there. So do you still run that channel, the one that you have the plaque for?
Yeah, so I haven't posted content in the last 6 months, but I actually do have a new 9-part video series that's coming out with some home workouts and healthy recipe variations and stuff. So I just got re-inspired and I partnered with a new brand. So I'm excited to share more information about these little snack bars that have been saving me throughout quarantine.
Nice. That is phenomenal.
But yeah, what I ended up doing, to kind of just give one more clarification around that. So when my sister left and we weren't doing the consistent weekly videos anymore, I transitioned in that year off. I did transition the channel to be more of like an affiliate platform. So we partnered up with a bunch of different fitness influencers who all had affiliate programs. And then we brought them on the channel. We rebranded to make it more relevant, not just to me and my real life sister, but to what does it mean to be a sister to each other.
Wow.
And then we brought on other fitness instructors and health experts to talk about specific topics that they're really good and really knowledgeable in. And then all those videos link up to their programs and all that. So we still get kickbacks from the sales that are made through those videos. So it has definitely gone through its own little mini journey throughout the years. And I don't know what I'll do with it in the future. I may, get re-inspired to run another group challenge at some point. But regardless, it's really cool that that community is still over there thriving. There's still, dozens of comments coming in every single day of people saying, thank you so much. This was such a great workout. Or thank you. I learned to do the splits from you, which is one of the top videos on that channel. So it's pretty cool. And
so is it kind of like you've graduated to be like more like not a YouTuber, but more like an entrepreneur running your businesses type thing? Would you kind of?
Yeah. So because I spend, all day, every day, helping we currently manage around 25 different YouTube channels.
Wow.
So I'm deep in the throes of working out content strategy, helping support, with all the different projects that are going on with those people. So I do really have, for this next year, I have pretty limited time. That is changing soon though.
Yeah.
So watch out, because I'm starting a brand new channel. So I'll be back, but I need a little bit of time to work through some of these client projects first.
That's pretty cool though. I would say when I hit 10,000 subscribers, and that's not even a big number, but that was big enough for a lot of people to look at my channel and be like, I need help, right? So I found myself helping a lot of other channels, like with little stuff, like helping them with their artwork or helping them with their channel banner or their thumbnails, or just stuff that it's like, I know how to do because it's kind of basic, but I just was surprised at how much it took me away from my channel, so I guess that's a thing too. Like I learned that the hard way. Like if you trying to grow your channel, you can't really, and I got paid for it. It's not like I was doing it for free. Like one deal was almost like a $20,000 deal to help this business get their YouTube channel going. But even still, you kind of have to weigh it out. Like, where would my channel be if I would have stayed focused with my channel? Like what would be your advice with a growing channel as they start getting, gigs for like consulting or start to monetize their channel and monetize their brand? Like, would you say if you can monetize, go into it early, or would you say, focus on your channel and grow that first? Or like where, I'm sure it's different for different people and their purpose, but what would be your like overall advice for that?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I think overall, I'm all about being paid well for the time and energy and expertise that you have. So if someone were a content creator, first and foremost, they started getting some traction with their channel, and then they were approached to start doing YouTube type consulting. What I will say is the things you need to know to go from 0 to 1K subscribers, then 1K to 10K subscribers, then 10K to 100K, and I imagine 100K up to 1 million subscribers. The things that you need to know are different at each stage. So what I mean by that is in the beginning, you're scrambling as hard as you can just to get that first 1,000 subscribers. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Right. And then from 1 to 10K, it's a lot easier because now you have a little bit of momentum under the channel itself. So you have more time now freed up to start looking at more advanced strategies, right? And the same thing happens from 10K to 100K. Now, a lot of your videos going from, 10 to 100 are going to be getting a lot of traction with or without you showing up every single week on the platform. So I would say it really just depends on an individual level. This is not, I can't make any decisions for any of you.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Let's get that together right now.
But at the end of the day, like if you're just you have to be really clear on what your goals are and what your boundaries are and what you're willing to say no to, because especially if you're brand new, it's really easy to just say yes to every single opportunity that comes your way. But one thing that you'll learn, especially in that journey from 10K to 100K, as you get busier and busier, as you start partnering with bigger and bigger brands, as your business on the back end starts to grow and you're doing more revenue, and so you start to have bigger problems, right? Maybe you need to hire an assistant, maybe you need to hire a sales rep. There's all different types of growth. What's the word I'm looking for? Almost like taking step by step as if you were going to climb a mountain, but you need to be clear before you start climbing that mountain, what's the top? Like which mountain are we going to actually climb? Right. So that's definitely a personal decision, but I would get really clear on what's the goal. Also think long-term. Don't just think in the next year or in the next month, right? It's really easy to say yes to things when they come your way, when you're thinking in that short term, like, oh, well, yeah, it would be nice to have that contract right now.
Yes.
But when you're thinking more long-term, like 3 to 5 year, or maybe even 10-year vision, what do you want your life to look like there? Imagine yourself already living that life. And I mean, down to the nitty-gritty detail, like how much time am I spending filming videos? How much time am I spending on sales calls? How much time am I spending doing XYZ? And get really granular with it. And then work back and reverse engineer from there. So I think casting a vision and holding that vision, not the circumstances, by far above and beyond. Honestly, it's like having a lighthouse, right? It's like your North Star. But if you don't know what that North Star is, it's really hard to make that decision.
See, that's what I like about you. The way you answer questions, it's like you're gifted at answering questions in a way that you don't just answer the question in front of you. You answer like the next 3 that somebody's going to ask after that. So that's dope.
Yeah, well, I do see that a lot. It's like really enticing even to take on, let's say a brand approaches you, right? And they want to work with you and they're going to pay you $10,000 to make 4 videos. Okay. But this brand is a company that you don't support the practices of. You don't like the ingredients in their food product, right? Like it goes directly against your beliefs and what you stand for. When you're in the brand new beginning of a YouTube channel, it's very tempting to say yes. But the people that grow for the long term are the ones that stay in integrity with themselves.
Yeah.
So there is always a deeper question behind what someone's actually asking on the surface. And I love to just go straight to the core.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, if I could do it all over again, I would probably turn down those opportunities. And some of these YouTube opportunities can be lucrative. Like some of these companies, because they don't know anything about YouTube and online stuff, they're throwing money at you. You know what I'm saying? But if I could go back, I'll be like, no, let me focus on growing my channel. And then I will have even more leverage to ask for maybe even more money when I have a better, platform. So thank you for that. I just want to jump in these comments real quick. Lim Drop said, welcome everyone. Please don't forget to like this video and share the live with people who are interested in monetization on their YouTube videos. Shout out to Lim Drops for definitely keeping the moderation in the comments lit. Appreciate you, brother. How much I owe you? Do I owe you something for that? I got Dulce Mia with the muscle signs. What's up? What's up? Miss Dreek said, yes, this conversation is so needed. Yeah, she was actually, she's kind of in that same phase. Her channel is growing really good. She's around 8,000 or 9,000, and she's kind of in that phase like how do I not only monetize it, but how do I kind of organize everything on my channel to be like more brand centric and delegate certain things. And that's something I want to get into it with you too, because I heard you say something in a YouTube room that was just phenomenal. And it was basically about your process of you and your team on how you delegate certain things. And it's like a well-oiled machine. Like you have your editors, you have people writing the scripts, or you write the scripts and then you approve it to go to, it was amazing. Like, I know that's a loaded question, but if you can give us a small peek of your YouTube process, that would be dope, because like you have such a systematic approach to it. It's like so seamless. Could you give us a peek into that real quick a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll do my best without being able to demonstrate it on screen. But essentially, I like to think, if you think of any business, right, every business that has been able to scale, especially at a fast rate, has systems. So I kind of liken this process to the assembly line, right? Each phase of the content production process has its own little section of the assembly line. So everything is pretty split up and focused on getting one thing done at a time. So step one is obviously doing the planning of the videos before you shoot. This is, as you know, this is a big mistake a lot of people make jumping into YouTube. They're just like, oh, I'm going to make a video on this, but there's no research, there's no planning, there's no storyboarding, there's none of that process. So make sure you don't do that. You want to definitely sit down, do a little bit of keyword research, see where the opportunities are and what people are actually looking for first, and then sit down and figure out, okay, of this topic, what am I going to put in this video? One of my favorite ways to structure videos, and the way that I teach this, is like, think of your video as almost like a sandwich. The intro and the outro are the bread, and then the meat and potatoes, right? The stuff inside is the content. And when you are presenting information, if you want to present it in the way that YouTube's algorithm loves, which is to make it educational and entertaining, one of the easiest ways to do that is to use numbered lists. So I recommend that people choose, like, what are the 3 to 5 things I can speak on for this particular topic? That gives you a repeatable process that you can start to systemize for your editors too. So, and this is really, to be very clear, this is for help videos, like how-tos, tutorials, things that are searchable and discoverable through, keyword searches on YouTube and Google, because Google owns YouTube.
Yeah.
There's different strategies for like more hero content where it's storytelling and you're taking someone on a hero's journey, or maybe it's like taking a stance on a controversial event. So those have, slightly different processes behind them, but most of people who are wanting to grow on YouTube are going to benefit the most from doing help content first. So we'll break it down with that. So step one is doing the keyword research to figure out what are people actually looking for, because the difference in even 1 or 2 different words could mean the difference between 50 people looking for that term a month or 50,000 people looking for that term a month. So you got to be really clear on and using tools like TubeBuddy. Shout out to TubeBuddy. They are amazing. Of all the keyword tools out there, and I don't say this slightly, I'm not technically affiliated with, well, I am an affiliate of theirs, but I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. They are one of the most generous and most useful tools for YouTube specifically. So highly recommend TubeBuddy, but also tools like Keywords Everywhere and things like that. You want to get really good at figuring out which videos you're going to even film. Then from there, after you've done that basic research, we actually write the titles, the tags, and the descriptions all together before we film. And this is what we teach our clients too. So we'll do the, we've got the keyword in the title, we've got the keyword in the video description, and then we'll do tag research, even though tags aren't as important as the other parts. But we still do the tag research to figure out, okay, of the top videos that are ranking, what are they tagged with? Are those relevant to the topic of the video? Are there different variations or ways to say what we're talking about with the target keyword? So we do the writing part first, and we do this all in a Google spreadsheet. It's kind of a 3-tab spreadsheet where tab number 1 is a whole brain dump, your keyword brainstorm. Tab number 2 is the individual keyword research, where we're tracking search volume, search data, or search pool data, TubeBuddy scores, competitive densities, all that kind of stuff. And then tab 3 is the titles, tags, and descriptions written out in full in SEO writing. Okay, so that's step 1, is get that done.
I can't wait to go back and watch this video, because I can't really soak it in right now because I'm running the chat and the thing, but I'm sure that everybody else getting it. But you got to go back and watch this video. That's why I wanted to get her to break this down, because it's very like strategic. So continue.
So once and you want to do this all in batches, obviously YouTube takes a lot of time. So the quicker that you get and the more assembly line specific you get with each phase of the process, the faster you'll be able to go. And you can do this for, 5 to 10 videos at a time. So we'll get at least minimum 4 to 5 videos, up to 10 to 12, and do all of this research, all of this writing beforehand. Then we have that ready to go. Okay. So then you got to go film the videos. With that, usually I was in a routine. This is different per client or per, people's lifestyles and stuff like that. But every single month when I was the most active on my channel, it was like Saturdays, from one Saturday a month from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. was always blocked out. So once a month I was filming for those 4 hours. Could knock out, 5, 6 videos in that time by having that sandwich structure of the video, where I know I'm going to shoot my intros and outros together, because I don't have to rearrange the camera. That's actually something I learned at the YouTube space in LA. I won a contest once through YouTube and got to go into their production studios in Los Angeles. And we worked with Hollywood producers, and we had like a full-on film day in their studios. And one of the main things they drilled in us was speed and efficiency. So wow. We had these Hollywood producers there, and it's like every time we had to get a different camera angle, right? Like usually your intros are closer up, and then your cutaway scene is a wider shot. So whenever you have to, or maybe you're standing for the intro and you're seated on a couch or something for the main shot. So whenever you have to change the camera, you have to readjust the lighting. You got to make sure it's still in focus, right? Wow. Like there's all these different moving parts. So you want to try to, what they taught us was to film your intro and outro together, where it's the same camera shot. You're a little bit more intimate, you're closer up. And then your main content, if you need to readjust or get a wider camera angle, then you film the main content together. So the reason I'm sharing this in specific detail like this is because this also comes into play in post-production, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So you film all your videos. Obviously, you're filming on the same 1 or 2 days, so you need to come with lots of, especially for the ladies out there. I'm sure this is not maybe as big of an issue for the dudes, but you got to have like different outfits, at least a different top, a different way to put your hair up or whatever, so it looks like it was different days that you filmed it. But you're going to be filming for like a solid 4 or 5 hours to knock all those videos out, right? And when you film it that way, where it's like, okay, let me do the intro real quick. I'm going to say a couple variations of my intro. Okay, turn the camera off, then hit record again. I'm going to do the outro real quick. Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe with the notification bell so you don't miss an episode, blah, 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 the whole thing. Turn that off and then record. So now we have 3 main video clips, okay? These 3 main video clips then get uploaded to either a Dropbox folder or a Google Drive folder, depending on where our editors are. We have different processes for that, but they get uploaded to wherever the editor is picking them up. You could also use a tool like Basecamp, is really good for file transfers. And they download it, they edit it. It usually takes them about a week or 2. We did a lot of research, have influence to go through a hiring process with overseas editors, which are, usually similar to or equal or greater than type of quality as the same types of editors you'd get in the US. So for this structured content type of video, the more systemized, again, that you can make it, those are great for an overseas editor because you have this structure built in, right? So every week it's going to be the same thing. So it takes them about a week or 2 to figure out, and obviously working with a brand new editor, that's going to be, you're going to have more communication in the beginning, but eventually they'll start to learn the style of your videos.
Yeah.
So then it becomes even faster of a process where you can just drop them in those boxes. They download it, edit the video, upload it for review, as long as everything looks good. And they know all of the editing SOPs too. So it's like, for the intro, make sure that that hook is before any type of branding screen. The branding screen is only 2 to 3 seconds long. Then we cut into the actual content. Make sure you're putting in, jump cuts, B-roll, secondary camera angles, adding text and graphic overlays. So like they have all of this. They know from past videos they've done. They have this all pretty documented out to the T because it's the same every single time. And then the tail end is like the last 20 seconds, throw the end screen in there. Make sure, you got little sound effects when things pop on the screen. So they're trained on all of that. And then you finally get the video back, right? As long as everything looks good, you're ready to go. Then from there, you can either do this on your own or you can hire, a very basic virtual assistant to then take that finished video, upload it to YouTube, schedule it, get the custom thumbnails in there. And then all they have to do is copy paste from that original document, the titles, tags, descriptions, et cetera. So that way it's good to go. So the more you can break up things into chunks like that, and if you're really good and you really have a lot of savvy in this world, once the video is live, then you also use tools like Splashio to create the little social shares, right? So there's a lot of different ways to automate this process. You can also use a tool like textbroker.com where you can hire a 4 or 5 star writer to take those same tags that you researched and write a whole corresponding blog article in the style of Google SEO to go along with that video. So then that video is embedded permanently on your website. So there's all these ninja things that you could do. And this is like, to go full circle back to the original question of what would you say if somebody wanted to start training other people and coaching other people and consulting with YouTube, if they just started to get traction on their channel? I would say wait until you have that level of intricacy to be able to support people, because it's very hard to take someone who, is new to the platform and get them to go from 0 to whatever subscriber goal that they have. It's challenging, especially if they're not naturally good on camera and stuff like that. So if you're able to structure out your processes like that, that becomes extremely valuable, because a complete beginner has no clue that they should be, doing the little tricks when they start filming of like, okay, I'm going to do intro and outro together. Then I'm going to do the content. Like it starts to get almost like a mind maze, especially for beginners. So if you're able to provide that level of value, then yeah, absolutely. People need help on YouTube a lot.
I want to give a shout out to Miss Dreeks for the super chat. Do I got sound effects? Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm working on it. Anyways, whatever.
It's
so
good.
Shout out to her. $4.99. That's gonna buy some rice and beans for the kids. I appreciate it. She said, "How do you differentiate from what should be free, helpful YouTube content versus what should be, a paid digital product?" That's a great question.
Yeah. So I like to think about it as chapters of a book. So if you're to think about your main program, the thing that you sell in the back end of your channel, as the whole book, right? Or even potentially for some of you guys, the whole series of books. That's obviously a very different, more intimate experience for someone to sit down and like read an epic tale and be in partnership with you in that experience than it is for someone to spend 5-10 minutes with you on a YouTube video. So if you think about your core offer or your main program as a book, your content is almost like little mini chapters of that book, right? So it's not so disconnected that it makes no sense that your videos are on one thing and the book is on a completely different thing. No, it's more like we're taking out little mini paragraphs or mini chapters of this book. We're going to speak into and teach on those little tiny things. And then if someone is ready to go deeper, it's a very natural ask to say, if you like this, then you're really going to like this other thing. Make sure you click this link to check it out. So that's kind of how I look at it and how I teach it and frame it for people is your offers are the main course, right? But this is like a little mini appetizer.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. I would add to that too, and this may be a more surface level answer. It depends on how much time and energy that helping other people takes from you, right? So, I know I'm a guy, like people hit me up all the time. Hey, I need help with this. And I say, let's jump on a quick, Zoom call or something. And I started seeing a 10-minute Zoom call start to go to an hour. And so it's like, well, now I got to start because, you're kind of dipping into my life now, so it's like, yeah. So I would just add that to that question. But I think as you have more content on your conveyor belt, like in your automation system with emailing and different marketing, I think it makes it easier to help people for free when you already kind of got it already out there in the world. You're like, oh, you need a question on this? Oh, I got a video on that. Bam, there you go. But kind of like you said, it when you want to go deeper, then it's like that's a whole different, ballpark. So, man, that's awesome. So I did have a question for you too. And it's almost up. It's 9:40 now. So, but I really want to talk to you about this. All right. So you have the process. We heard how you started your process. How do you now scale to a 6-figure channel? Like, what does that really look like? Like, what does that entail? Like, how can you help me out with that? How do I make 6 figures from YouTube?
Yes, this is a great question. Let's clarify the 4 main ways to monetize YouTube, because this is going to come up over and over, and you got to really figure out what are the paths that I want to take. Number 1 is what we've been kind of referencing here, selling your programs, courses, services, etc. on the back end of the channel. So you use YouTube as a lead generator for whatever it is that's the core foundation of the business. So that could be a membership site. It could be, access to a coaching program. It could be one-on-one consulting, whatever that is for you. It could be even, potentially some like retreats or something like that. So whatever that is for you, having your own programs, products, and services on the back end, that's number 1. That's the fastest and most profitable way that you're going to monetize your channel. So we'll just leave that little seed there and we'll come back to it in a second. Number 2 is affiliate marketing. So you can also, if you don't have that available yet, you can partner with other people or other product type companies. Let's say you do a review video. You guys all probably know about affiliate marketing, but that's number 2. Number 3 is brand deals and sponsorships. You can make quite a lot of money in brand deals and sponsorship deals, but it takes a little bit of time to build up the influence to get there, right? So it's amazing and it can be very lucrative, and you can create some really cool opportunities and relationships in the brand world, but it does take a little bit of time. So if you're trying to get faster cash out of your channel, you're better off going with number 1. And then the last is 4th one is AdSense revenue, and I think that this is where everyone thinks that YouTubers make most of their money. And while AdSense revenue is great, it should be more of like the cherry on top of everything else that you have going. Okay, so it shouldn't be the main goal of the channel. And the reason I say that is because AdSense revenue it can be very volatile and it can go up and down, right? So it's not predictable. It is somewhat predictable, but it's not as reliable as some of these other income streams. So coming back to number 1, having your own programs, products, and services on the back end, there's really only 2 ways that you can do that. Number 1 is to do really high volume of low ticket products, meaning, $200 or less. And the other option is to do low volume of high ticket products. So anything over, $1,000, $1,500. So it's going to be just as hard to sell 15 people a $100 product as it is to sell one person a $1,500 product. The psychology of sales is going to be the same, but applied differently. So typically with low ticket products, you have sales pages and things like that. It's also usually in delivery, there's not a whole lot of one-on-one contact, right? There's not a whole lot of fulfillment time that you have to put into it. Whereas with the higher ticket model, typically, you can structure it as a group program so that it's still really scalable, but typically it does take a little bit more effort on the fulfillment side of things. However, you also end up attracting a much higher quality client who has a higher budget of things to pay. So this is something that I learned in my first YouTube experience in my first business. Was we accidentally started by doing super high volume, very low ticket. So the only thing we ever sold on that, the highest price point we ever had was $197 for an annual membership, which for that market in some ways it made a lot of sense, but there's pros and cons to doing both. And so one of the biggest things I learned is, at VidFluence, a lot of our stuff is higher ticket on the high end. And it's been just as easy to build this business as it was to build that one. It just had a very different strategy going into it. So when we were doing low ticket, we knew that we had to have thousands and thousands of people buying every month. So we had to be creating content all the time. We had to be there, relevant, in their face, like reminding them, hey, this thing is coming up. So it was a lot more, in front of the camera, building that influence, really growing and trying to get as many people as possible so that we could partner with bigger brands and stuff like that. And with with the high ticket business model, I could also do this without being known at all, right? So you kind of just got to figure out what's my long-term goal. And for 90% of people, going the high ticket, low volume route is going to be a much faster way for you to hit your first 10K months, which would bring you to those 100K years. So think about it this way. If you were to structure an offer that was let's say, just for sake of math, let's say it's a $3,000 offer, you would only need 3 to 4 people every single month to enroll into that offer to hit 6 figures. And you could do that potentially in the next 30 days. So results don't actually take time, they take courage, and they take the knowledge of the systems and the structure of what to actually put into a package like that to make the value worth it, to make people hear what you're offering and say, well, yeah, I definitely want to do that. Take my money, right? So if I were to give someone who has the goal of a 6-figure YouTube channel, the best advice I could, it would be know that those other things are coming, but let's focus on getting a core offer that we can sell at a high ticket price point. And we actually have a program, a 90-day program that walks you through step-by-step exactly how to do this. Let's get that high ticket offer available for people out there to know that, hey, if you want to go deeper, I have an option for you. And then, only have to focus on getting 3 to 4 clients a month. Or if you're brave enough to go even higher, let's say you raise your prices to 5K price point, you only need 2 new people a month to hit those 10K months, right? So it's actually a lot easier than people think it is, but they're just trying out all these other methods, right? Like trying to build up AdSense, trying to get brand deals, trying to, sell affiliate products or whatever. They're trying all these other ways, or maybe they're selling a $20 course like I did in the beginning, which is a huge mistake, but a great lesson, right? They just don't know what they don't know. So I think it takes a fundamental mindset shift in believing in yourself and knowing that you absolutely, if you have a skill or you've overcome something challenging in your life and you've figured out how to do it where someone else is still stuck in the original problem, you can package that into a coaching program or a consulting package of some sort and start selling it and start making money for the skill sets that you have. So that's how you do it, guys. Put
what
something
you
together.
said about results don't take time, they take courage. Wow. That hit me. That was a gut check for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, geez. Yeah, that was good. But so I want to kind of ask you. So, okay, you're saying $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 offers, right? So, like for you in your world, what does a $5,000 offer look like? I know this may be a little bit off brand or whatever, but this is just me and you now because I'm trying to get to a $5,000 offer. How do you know what I'm saying? You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah. So for like it really depends on what, number one, are you in a B2C market or a B2B market? B2B, meaning business to business market, you're selling to other businesses, right? Other entrepreneurs. So number one, that's a tax write-off for that other business typically. And number two, it's a lot easier to charge a lot higher prices because typically it's a much higher skill level than business to consumer. So with business to consumer, this would be like health or beauty, things like that, where we're going direct to the consumer. Those tend to be a little bit harder to raise prices up higher and higher, once you get into that 5, 6K range. But at the end of the day, there are people out there that are charging, 15, 20K for, just one-on-one coaching or, therapeutic techniques and EFT tapping and meditation coaches. Like there are people out there that will pay those prices. So number one, recognize that the limitations that you have are the only thing that will actually hold you back, like your limiting beliefs. So that's really important because mindset is everything when you're charging this high price point.
Wow.
With a 5K offer, if you're in the B2B space, that's actually quite easy. 5K in the business space is, relatively low actually. A lot of times business owners are used to paying, $20,000 to $50,000 for consulting support or for, coaching programs in these elite expert areas. So 5K is pretty easy to do in the B2B world. When it comes to the B2C world though, I have some students that are in the travel industry teaching people how to become digital nomads. I have students that, do emotionally focused, what's it called? Like marriage counseling, emotionally focused therapy, right? I've got clients that are doing, all different types of just personal development type content. So I know that it works because I've seen them grow these programs, but you start out incrementally, right? So first figure out what can I throw together for $1,000? What I recommend you do is to get to that point, you got to have structure with it, right? So one of the things that we teach is having your own method. What is your own 3 to 5 step process of transformation that you're going to take a prospect through? Okay. So identify, let's say, just to make it easy, in reference to my fitness channel, it's like, we're going to take you through month 1 is fitness. Month 2 is nutrition. Month 3 is lifestyle choices. And, not just what you put in your body, but what beauty products and stuff you're putting on your skin. Right. So let's say those are my 3 phases. It becomes a lot easier to communicate to somebody on a phone. And we have a whole, high ticket sales script that you would take them through. There's like an actual human psychological process that someone needs to go from, kind of wanting to do your program to I can't wait to do your program, right? So we do have scripts for all of that, but
you said
essentially
it's a whole human psychological process that they got to go through. Jeez, man.
I mean, it is, but I'm making it sound more fancy than it is.
No,
But
that's good.
I mean, there's been studies for, there's been studies for
a psychological
years, decades.
process right now.
Yeah. So essentially what you want to do is have something that differentiates you from all your other competitors. And this is like your unique method. This is your unique value proposition. And this is a repeatable, scalable process where no matter where someone's coming in, we're still going to take you through these core things, right? So see what you can put together as like a beta launch for that $1,000 price point, get really clear on what are the stages of this. And, you can outline it to be 60 to 90 days roughly, right? And then take a couple people through one at a time, one-on-one as beta testers. And what you'll learn from them, the questions that they ask, the problems and challenges they run into, the things that really worked for them will further inform what actually needs to go in that program. So then what you can do is continue to refine it, add additional resources or references that they need based on what came up for them in the program, and then raise your price. And you just keep pulling that growth lever because there's really only 3 growth levers in your business. Number one, and this is where most people start out, is they think they just need to get more customers. But that's only one way to grow a business. And a lot of times, if you bring in more people to a broken pricing model, well, that's not going to do you any favors either. Now you just have a lot more trade time for money type of thing, right? It's not actually scalable.
Yeah.
At certain points, you can hit those caps. So getting more people in the door is only one of those growth levers. The other 2 are what we really focus on is how do we raise the price point? And we do that by refining it based on someone actually going through the process and us learning and getting their feedback of, hey, this was really challenging still for me, or hey, this still doesn't make sense to me. So you can refine that and make it even more valuable for your ideal client. And then the third way is to create a recurring revenue back-end offer. So instead of just that first initial 60 to 90 day period, you've got to also think about, number one, there's going to be 2 scenarios on those sales calls, really 3 scenarios. The best scenario is if they say, yes, take my money, let's sign me up, let's go, right? That's what you want ideally. But if they are not ready for whatever reason, you've got to have 2 different offers ready to go. One is the downsell offer, right? So if someone's not ready to drop 5K with you, okay, well, let's at least get you into this course or this automated thing. You can still save a lot of sales that way. And then there's also on the back end of that, there's a follow-up long-term recurring revenue offer. So what we've done is we just make it open enrollment. So if there's technically, we say it's 90 days, but actually there's no end. You could stay in there for the next 10 years if you want, as long as I still got the mojo, I'll be there. Right?
I know, right?
So we just do quarterly billings. If someone wants to enroll and reserve their spot for the next year, we give them a little bit of a discount on that to be on yearly billing. But that's how I've done it. That's how I teach it. And it's honestly what I've seen.
What does the monthly price point look like? $100 a month?
So we don't do monthly for that. This is something I learned from my fitness business too. We tried out all different types of pricing models, and we tried quarterly billings, we tried yearly billings, and we tried monthly billings. And the monthly billings always had the highest amount of customer support issues.
So what's
the most amount of headaches, right? And the
recurring?
least amount of time that people would stay on.
Wow.
And it just wasn't serving anybody. So I don't actually do any monthly billing anymore. Now it's either every 3 months, right? So just re-enroll per quarter, or you can sign up for an entire rest of the year and we'll give you a little bit of a couple $1,000s off.
Man, I'm very sad that this is coming to an end. We got like 9 minutes left, and where did the hour go, Liz? I mean, geez.
I don't even know. I could nerd out on this stuff for days.
Man,
so
well,
you got to reel me in someday.
Lim Drop said, Liz is giving like there is no tomorrow. Thank you, Liz. Hashtag the giving economy. He's actually Lim Drops is writing a book about the giving economy and how givers it's the new currency. Giving is the new currency. So that's dope. Chat Lim Drops out. Miss Dreek said, Liz, do you have your MBA? I missed the first 7 minutes.
I do not. I do have a bachelor's though. That's what we're talking about, right? Master's?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a school term.
Yeah,
MBA.
I don't. I was going to go to business school once upon a time, but decided to start a business instead. And I'm very glad that I did.
You said something that I thought was so dope. And you was like, put it in beta and then figure it out. And that kind of confirmed something else I heard somebody say when he was like, don't procrastinate. Just put everything in beta and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And then as you learn more, beta that and sell that, and then learn more, you beta that and you sell that. So you're selling a bunch of beta around here. I think that's a mindset shift that a lot of people can really learn from, because it's like, you don't got to wait on a finished product. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keep evolving the product, you know?
So true. And on that note, a little pro tip that I didn't learn for way too long, and I wish someone had told me this sooner: pre-sell it before you build it. So make sure there's actually buyers for it before you devote the time to building it. And that's part of why you would want to take a couple beta testers through, make sure you have at least the first week or two of content ready to go, but then use the feedback that you're getting from them or the questions that come up in your sessions with them to formulate the rest of the program and build it as you go through it with them. That's a little pro hack. Pre-sell it, build it later.
Wow. When did you start your YouTube channel that blew up? That's the 100,000. When did that start?
We started that about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago.
2016, 2017.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
The reason I asked is because that's a common theme with a few people that I brought on the show. They started their channel around 2016, 2017. And of course they worked their butts off, but I think it was a different YouTube back then that just kind of gave you a little more, maybe because it wasn't so saturated. I mean, is that fair to say, you think, or not really?
I don't know, man. It was pretty saturated when we got into it. We kept thinking, like, we're just like two normal girls from the Midwest. Like, I don't know if we're going to make it in this fitness world. You know, there's all other types of gals out there that are way fitter than us, but it ended up working for us. And I feel like people have been saying that since the beginning of YouTube. You know, like somebody will say that a year from now about this year, right? Yeah. Oh, it's so easy. It's easier to start it back then. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, we have proof actually that it's not true, because look at Janelle Eliana. She blew up. She's over 2 million subscribers. She was the fastest growing YouTuber in the history of YouTube. Ever. And that just happened last year. So
yeah, that's true.
You know,
she has a van life channel, like your sister or your friend. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, her content's great.
That is awesome. Yeah, she's funny too. She's funny. And Kelly Stamps, are you following her at all?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
Kelly Stamps, oh man, she's kind of like the next Janelle Eliana, but she didn't grow as fast. But she put out one video about a horrible date she went on with a guy, and then next thing you know, her channel, now she's over 500,000. And I came in on her journey around literally 3,000 subscribers. So it's
wow,
dope.
That's crazy.
All right,
that's so cool. I love YouTube.
Yeah, man. We're going to end this in just a couple minutes. Pre-sale before you have content. I've been watching this in the gym. Great interview, Eliseo. Thank you so much. Digital Buddha. Oh, that's David. That's David. Yeah, Digital Buddha. Appreciate it, brother. All right, cool. So with the last 5 minutes, I just want you to tell everybody what you have coming up or what you have going on next. And also, if we want to do business with you, how can we do business with you? Because you obviously have a lot of expertise and knowledge, and maybe we want to pay you for some of that. So how can we do that?
Yeah, so I think one of the best things to start with is, if you are new to YouTube or you're wanting to grow your channel this year, you can head over to youtubegrowthhacks.com. I put together a little 5-step checklist for your channel setup process. You'd be surprised, most people set up their channels wrong. So even if you've been on there for a few months or maybe even a few years, and you're just now getting serious about the strategy behind your content and your channel, that's a really great place to start, just to make sure you've checked all of those basic boxes. And also, when you download that, you'll get emailed a link to join our private Facebook group, where we talk every single week about YouTube strategy, the latest YouTube features, all different YouTube marketing campaigns that you can run and things like that. So check that out. You can also find me at Liz Does Video everywhere, including lizdoesvideo.com, if you want to read a little bit more about my personal story. And then all of our courses, programs, and services are highlighted for you at vidfluence.com. So head over there to get support or to check out more resources. We do both service-based work, where we're helping you grow the channel directly. And then we also have some digital training course for YouTube growth specifically. So that's how you can find me.
That's what's up. And what's next for you? We want to hear that. What is next for you? Just same old, or anything big?
Yeah. So, I'm actually extremely excited, because I'm a big proponent of being a forever student as well. I would never proclaim to know everything there is to know about YouTube, although I have gotten quite good and have perfected some of these systems that do get results. I would never proclaim to be the best in the world at it. So I'm actually really excited, because starting on Friday, I am partnering up to be a mentee of Daryl Eves. I don't know if hopefully you know who Daryl Eves is. He's like the YouTube godfather. And so he agreed to take me on as a mentee. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. And I imagine that will be a very, very educational experience for me and for all the people that I'm able to impact and help and support. So I'm very excited to partner up with Daryl.
I think that's so dope that who you are, with all the accolades and all of the experience that you have, all the success, you're still like, man, I'm still a student, right? So let me get somebody to help teach me something. Like of course we all know what Daryl does. He's like Mr. Beast guy. But like, what are you most, really looking forward to learning from him?
So we chatted the other day, and he was saying that, he personally owns 17 different channels, all over 1 million subscribers. I mean, I'm pretty good at YouTube, but that's like next level of YouTube, right? And I've also heard that he's got some really interesting suggestive video strategies. So I'm really excited to, just learn from him, shadow him, learn all the things that I didn't even think about potentially doing, like setting up licensing deals or taking, profit shares with the clients that we're working with, and just a whole next level of YouTube marketing and business growth and all of that. And so, I mean, we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be some cool surprises in there too. And you never know, maybe I'll even teach Daryl a thing or two.
I know, right?
We'll find out.
I know, man. That is awesome. So let me see here. I'm actually going to do this while you're on here. Are you using your phone to do this, Liz?
This is my laptop.
I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Clubhouse room, because last time I did this, I did it after the stream ended, and then people had a hard time finding the room and they couldn't get in. And so let me just do this while you're on here. Grab your phone. You got your phone there?
Yep.
All right, I just plugged in my laptop. I wonder how.
Oh, cool. So fancy.
All right, I just started it. You jump in there, and then I'll end the stream. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching, man. Like, I'm so humbled that you guys would take your time out of your busy days to watch me. Well, you probably came for Liz, and that's okay. I appreciate that still. But me and Liz, we're both in here. Let me mod you up here, make moderator. Like, if I were you, I would get in this room, man. She has so much knowledge, man. If you guys don't come in here, I'm just gonna be asking her questions. Okay, so get in here. Don't let me hog up all the attention.
Come on.
Yeah, for real. And she's a super big influencer, even on there. Let's look at her profile. Look who's following her. Grant Cardone. Pretty Ricky's following her. Like, all